have to help Carson out. If that's the way they're going, they have to go offensive. Like, doesn't matter if it's line or receiver, they have to go offensive line in the draft. And people were talking about, oh, defensive this, defensive that. Most of these guys,
I've heard Kyle Hamilton in a couple of mock drafts being mocked to them at number 11. He's a great player. He ran a slower 40 than expected, but as far as his impact on the field, there's no question about that. On defense, even with that edge rusher, the dude from Michigan, I keep forgetting his name, even with him being projected as the number 1 pick, Hamilton and his impact, I've seen mock drafts with him going at number 1. So if he falls to 11, if he falls to 11 and they made that pick, as much as I want them, and I said that if they make a defensive pick, then they're committing to sucking and not making the playoffs this year. I might be willing to make an exception for him. Not completely sold on that yet because I feel like they need the pieces for Wentz. But if Hamilton happens to make it there, then maybe I'll bend and say that that's okay.
So do you think? Oh, sorry, go ahead. No. So what I was thinking is, like, you know how Michael Parsons fell to the Cowboys because the Skins didn't. I mean, that the Commanders did not take him because the Commanders did have a shot at Michael Parsons, but with all that noise that happened behind the scenes, they're like, we don't want to take a chance on it. But do you think a Kyle Hamilton type player can be like a Micah Parsons for the Commanders, and he can be that kind of impact? And if that's so, then
possibly.
So see, and that's why I was on the fence after you said that. My brain started churning. Is like, well, if he's the best player at 11, like if Olave and Wilson go before him, and he falls to number 11, which I don't think is going to happen, but if it does, you have to take him. You just have to. You cannot take anybody else, because if you have let's say, this is hypothetical now. I'm not saying if he's that missing piece to a championship defense, which this team I can foresee be, then you can't pass him up, or else then Martin Mayhew and all that scouting is for naught. It really is for naught. And you can't have like an impact player like that not be you can't miss up a player like that. You just can't.
The thing is, though, with that, I can't have that be a gamble. They have to review his film and be absolutely certain that he can come in and have a Micah Parsons impact. Nothing less. Micah Parsons was a game. He was a defense in and of himself, because the chaos he wreaked in the backfield made the rest of that defense better. So if Kyle Hamilton can come in and have that sort of impact on a defense, there's no question. And if that's the case, he's not going to make it to 11. If teams view him as that, there's no chance he makes it to 11. But if he did, and if he did, and they're sure he'll have that impact, you got to take him there. Outside of that, though, you got to get Wentz some pieces if he's your guy. If you believe he's your guy, and not only that, after the draft, after mini camps are wrapped up and they've seen what they wanted to see, you got to extend him. He can't be on a 1-year deal if he's your guy, because then next year it gets more expensive.
Oh, so you're saying so that's a great point you bring up, though.
If they feel he's their long-term solution at QB, you got to give him a contract right after mini camps are over and everything looks good. If it all looks good after mini camps, you got to extend him out 4 years.
So then how does that play into Terry's situation, though, right? Because then
might help that, because it should give a little cap relief if you extend him.
But that's a very valid point that you just brought up, though, because people are saying this is like his contract year, right? He has to play like that. But if you're saying that he's your guy, Ron said it, everybody's saying it, you have to sign him, or else then you're just back to square one again next year. And as you stated, the market has gotten more expensive. Like, all the receivers now are getting triple digits, almost close to triple digits now. And the quarterback itself is, I mean, I think Russell, was it Russell or was it Patrick Mahomes that blew the market?
No, Aaron Rodgers now.
It was Aaron Rodgers now? Yeah. So as things go on, like, as we stated before in previous shows, the salaries are going to get so astronomical. You want to control that early on, and so that you're not in the end and saying, oh my God, who do we have to let go to compensate for his salary to make it up? And that's a very valid point.
I think that will tell the true story as to whether or not they truly view him as their long-term solution. That'll put the period on it. If that's true, then he's going to get an extension this offseason.
Yeah, this also that, and I think no one is even talking about that. That's a very awesome point you made, because people are just talking about next year, next year, next year. People are not bringing up the point where if he's your all end all future quarterback for the future, you got to get him signed now where the money is right. The money is right now, instead of next year where you have no idea. The market can increase by 10%, 20%, dependent upon how Herbert or, any other quarterbacks play. So that's a very, very good point to bring up, because no one's talking about that.
Yeah, switching back into their draft needs and all that and what they're going to do. Guys that they have been, rumored to target, such as Olave and Garrett Wilson. Those two guys seem to be sliding a little bit. And guys like Drake London, who's coming off an injury, are starting to move up the charts. And there was another receiver.
Jamison Wilson?
I mentioned, he's going to be the first receiver taken. So he won't make it to them.
Right.
There was another guy, the Texas A&M guy that I mentioned before, the big body guy. I heard him moving up the boards too. Treylon Burke, maybe. I think that's his name, Treylon Burke. I've heard these guys are moving up. So would that change? Do these rumors affect what the Commanders are going to do there? I don't think. I think if Olave is still there at 11, or even Wilson, they're so similar. If either one of them are there at 11 and the other guys are gone, and if London is there, I don't.
You have to.
He seems small to me. At 6'4", he seems kind of skinny. But the things I'm hearing about, I've never seen the dude play. But the things I'm hearing about him, and the way he's rumored to be such an impact player, if he's there, I mean, just from the rumors, I'm kind of intrigued. It's kind of enticing. Maybe it just, to me, the safer pick. I mean, London might have such a high ceiling because he's so tall and fast. But the safer picks are the Ohio State guys, and Ohio State receivers don't tend to miss. Like, those are safe picks, and then you've got the rapport with McLaurin already. I think that's your safer pick. And I'm offensive side of the ball. I mean, I want them to go there, but I think the move needs to be receiver. That's going to help Wentz the most. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can't agree with you more, but it's kind of surprising that like Olave and Wilson are dropping, because, as you said, this is the season. Rumors, but I'm saying this is the season of lies,
right?
But I want to hark back on Olave in instances like where Eddie was on our show and he was saying that you can't teach speed. His speed is astronomically like insane, and if he comes to a number 11, you have to draft him. Doesn't matter ands, ifs, or but. You can't even think about anybody else. You just can't, because with that alone, with that speed alone, you can win 9 times out of 10. And his route running is exceptional. Mm-hmm. I mean, he can turn. He's like in my opinion, he's like a Djax. He reminds me of a Djax in the sense that with better route running, because Djax is just a straight down receiver. But with him, he can make the move and one foot in the ground and go. And it's almost like if you can get a receiver like that come to number 11, it's a blessing. Yeah. For not only the Commanders, not only for Carson Wentz, but also for Terry, because as you just mentioned, they have that rapport, and having a teammate that you've actually played with at least for a year, you guys can train in the off season. You can train each other to, do what's right, what's not working, be in the film room with Carson, kind of say, hey, I like these plays, not those plays, and kind of work around it and just be a sponge. And I think if that's the case, yeah. But my biggest fear is these guys are not going to drop to 11. They're going to get picked in the first maybe 6. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Number 1 is the Jacksonville draft. They're going Hutchinson or the defensive or another defensive player. But in the next 6 positions after that, these guys can go. After the first 2, and that 3 through 8, I think whoever needs a receiver, they're going to pick them. They're not going to let them go.
Yeah, and Jamison Williams is rumored to be he's going to be the first pick at receiver, because even with the ACL injury in the college football playoff, he's still going to be the first pick because his comp is Tyreek Hill. You're not going to pass on Tyreek Hill even coming off an injury. So if that's his comp, he's going to be. There's no doubt about that one. After that, it's a crapshoot.
For me, for him, I think he may drop. I think he will. The Williams, Jamison Williams. I think he will drop.
No, he won't. He won't.
You don't think so?
No.
The reason why
I don't have any doubt about that.
The reason why I'm saying that is with the, as you say, with an ACL injury, he didn't perform in the combine. He didn't do anything that kind of showed his true talent.
None of that has hurt his stock whatsoever.
Really,
he's still the consensus #1 pick at receiver.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You would think it would hurt, but he's just so good that he's gonna be the guy, and nothing has come out to the contrary. Everybody is saying he's still gonna be the first pick.
Yeah, because I went back and saw he got injured in the national championship game, so I saw previously and I'm like, this guy, like even with the ACL, it's no doubt he's going to be the first receiver taken off the board. But there's always an inkling to me that some teams may stray away from him because of that, because they don't want to. He's a work in progress. Now it's almost like he's a project instead of a sure thing. And that's the only like kind of scariness maybe some teams may look at. But hey,
he's ahead of schedule right now in the rehab, and he's due to be back by training camp. So with that being the case, I mean, it's not really that big of a risk.
No, it really isn't. I always get afraid when people have injuries during the last like game or anything going.
Yeah, I don't love it. I'm not saying if I were making a pick, it would be my choice there.
Right.
I would really have to I'd have to know that he's going to be Tyreek Hill, which is his comp. I would have to know that's going to happen to make to feel safe making that pick.
100. That's where I think I should have stated it better. So that if I was doing it, I would not pick him. I would move on. And if he becomes a great receiver, you have to say, okay, I bit the bullet, but I'd rather be like kind of looking at what's the safest bet. And sometimes it's a roll of the dice. It's a crapshoot. So
I still will pick him. ACL injuries don't scare me like they used to. It's really something that's kind of expected now, and that you come back from it so easily. And like Adrian Peterson and this dude being so young, like I don't expect him to have any ill effects from it. It's like in baseball with Tommy John, you expect that now, and then the guys come back and they're fine. Like freaking Hunter Green, I tweeted about him this week. He's out. He had a Tommy John a year and a half ago. He's out there now. The Reds ace throwing 104. Like
104.
This stuff doesn't scare you anymore. So I expect him to be fine. I expect him to be an impact player this season.